Good news! We finally got the Ninja Turtles away from Michael Bay. Bad news. We gave them to Seth Rogen. Good news! The Turtles are animated again. Bad news. So is April O'Neil. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag. For the record, I don't hate Seth Rogen, I just needed another bad news thing to make the bit work. Although I do think he should have gotten some notes before they rolled on this project. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem! Wow, that is a lot of syllables for one title. Okay. What we have here with this movie seems to be the first in what I expect will be a wave of films trying to ape the animation style of the Spider-Verse movies. Which, yeah, if there's one thing about Spider-Verse you'd want to take cues from, that would be it. And I'm not saying they're exactly alike or anything, but you can tell what the filmmakers' influences were. And that can be a good thing and a bad thing. It's good in that it looks really unique. I can honestly say I've never seen a Ninja Turtles movie or show that looked like this. I like that they weren't afraid to make it look kind of dark and dirty, because it is after all a story about mutants who live in a sewer, but it also manages to be colorful and stylistic at the same time, and that stylization really pops when it comes to the mutant characters. Bebop, Rocksteady, Mondo Gecko, all those guys, they all look really fun and unique. There's a lot of personality and creativity in the character designs, and the Turtles are easy to tell apart with the way they're realized too. The new designs will not be for everyone, and ultimately I think I prefer the classic versions, but points for effort. Where this backfires, though, is with the human characters. The mutants look cool. Some of them are not to my liking, but I respect the work that went into designing them. With the humans, though, I don't know what they were thinking. I understand that in a movie called Mutant Mayhem, the mutants were going to be the focus, as they should, but I think what happened is that the filmmakers got so excited and so carried away while they were designing the mutant characters that they decided to take that same stylization and apply it to the humans too, and wow, that was not a good idea. Okay, no beating around the bush, I'm just gonna say it. The humans in this movie are butt ugly. They're so ugly that it was honestly kind of distracting. There's a newscaster character with this weirdly misshapen head, like one side of their face is all lumpy and distorted for some reason. There's a scientist character whose neck is about a foot long. She's like a fucking ostrich, and her face is all smushed into a really small area of her head. And there were tons more like that too. The humans are so weird looking, it's fucking bizarre. Hell, after a while, I almost started to feel like they were taken away from the mutants. Why? They're the ones who are supposed to look different. And while we're on that subject, let's talk about April. There was quite a stir when the trailer came out and we all saw what April looked like. I weighed in on that too in the community tab. It was a big thing. And I'm not talking about the race bending. It seems like every character is getting race bent these days. It's always annoying and unnecessary, but it happens so often I just roll my eyes at it now. What confuses me is the other stuff. Why make her fat, overweight, horizontally enhanced, whatever? I'm not trying to body shame anybody, I'm just asking a question here. In all seriousness, who is this supposed to appeal to? Aside from the chubby chasers, and Leo apparently, more on that in a minute, who do you think is going to like this? It might tick a box with the activist weirdos on Tumblr, but those people don't actually support these movies anyway. At the end of the day, you're making a product here that you want people to buy because they like what they see, and there seems to have been a push to make April look intentionally unappealing for the first time, and she's one of the more normal-looking humans in this thing. And not that I really want to examine this too closely, but there were a bunch of strange coincidences with April here. I mean, beats me what the motivation for all this was, but I just find it odd that this new iteration of April, the first one to be race bent into a black person, was also the first one to be overweight and the one who gets a 2-minute gag/musical montage of her vomiting all over herself. Sadly, I'm not joking. That really does happen. I got nothing. I'm at a loss on this one. April was always a fun, cool character. She'd get herself into trouble sometimes, but she was spunky and resourceful and generally did not vomit on herself for the sake of cheap laughs that never come. But this is the most undignified she's ever been. She's been a journalist, a scientist. In some versions, she becomes a ninja too. And in this one, she's April O'Puke. Stay classy, movie.
I don't wanna.
And all this stuff just makes it even more baffling when Leo takes a shine to her. And I know that's been done before. I think Donnie had a crush on April in one of the cartoons, but that's already weird enough on the face of it, what with them being different species and all. I mean, you don't exactly go around seeing dogs having with cats, that's not a thing. But once you add the make under that they've given April, up to and including her being a vomit geyser, when Leo takes one look and is instantly smitten, thinks she's the most beautiful creature he's ever seen, it's so freaking awkward. It doesn't work at all. And not to shame interspecies romance or whatever, but maybe we should just stick to pairing April with Casey Jones and let the poor girl take a shower too while you're at it. Yikes. And the Turtles are not without their own issues, I'm afraid. I do think it's interesting that they really sound like teenagers this time. Again, not really my favorite choice, but points for trying something different at least. But where they really screwed up here, in my opinion, was focusing so much on the teenager thing. Because the movie leans really hard on the teenage mutant stuff, but for some reason didn't seem at all interested in the ninja part. And of all the things to slack off on, why would you pick that? Being ninjas is what makes them cool, but it's basically an afterthought here. What is this? They learn ninjutsu from watching kung fu movies now? So that great backstory with Hamato Yoshi and Oroku Saki is gone? Wow, that's really f***ing dumb. And it makes Splinter so much less interesting too. Oh, but don't worry, because Splinter might be gay now. So, there's that. Yeah, I'm sure that'll make up for it. Is Splinter gay now? I couldn't tell. Some people were saying he is, and he has a thing with another mutant here, but it's so f***ed up looking I couldn't tell what gender it was. But let's be honest, if they did make Splinter gay in this movie, would that surprise absolutely anybody? For f***'s sake, there's so little emphasis put on them being ninjas in this film. The first time they get into a fight, they don't even know what to do because they've never been in a fight before. Really? You've been ninja training your whole lives and you don't know how to fight? How did that even make sense on the page? Did not like this at all. The Turtles are supposed to be great fighters. What happened to that? Where did all their confidence and their skills disappear to? Yeah, once the fighting starts, they get the job done, but not in the badass way they should, and it's not done with as much actual ninjutsu as you might think either. Why does Hollywood keep doing this? What is wrong with our male heroes actually being good at things? You're not taking anything away from women by just letting male characters be who they are. It's so frustrating. It felt like the movie just didn't care about or didn't understand this aspect of the Turtles. And the story reinforces this because it's all about them wanting to come out of the sewer and be accepted by humans. Okay, not a bad idea to flirt with, but once you've done that, you've kind of taken something really important away from them. You've removed the core of their characters, that they're ninjas who fight in the shadows and go unseen by everybody. Once that's gone, they're not really them anymore. But hey, that noise. Now they've gotta have TikToks and always be on their phones texting and shit, because that's what real teenagers are like, right? Even the Mutant Ninja Turtle ones. Just out of curiosity, what was the deal with the phones? How'd they even get them? What cell phone plan are Splinter and the boys on? Who exactly is that Verizon bill coming to every month? I'm just thinking out loud here. As for the Turtles' characters, I've seen some people saying that they're out of character in this movie. I partially disagree with that. It's not entirely true. The Turtles have always had very distinct personalities. They have different characters and fighting styles. Leo is serious leader guy, Donnie's the brains, Mikey's the goofball, and Raph is the hothead with an anger problem. In this movie, those personalities are still there, but the problem is they've become secondary, while the dominant personality trait for each of them is now teenager. Concurrently, Splinter is less their respected ninja master and more their grumpy shut-in dad reminding his rambunctious kids to be home by curfew. And that's why, even though they do still technically have the distinct characters they're supposed to have, they all pretty much talk and act the same way, so they don't really seem that different. Again, I don't know why they played up the teenager thing so hard, but this is one of the problems you run into when you do that. What's more, the filmmakers weren't just content with highlighting the teenager thing, the Turtles had to be modern teenagers. And I'm not even saying that was a bad idea on paper, but guys, Don't you think you overdid it? I mean, you could get away with some of these things, but when it really got to be too much was when they started using modern humor. I don't know how and when this trend began exactly, but so many Hollywood writers today think that the absolute height of comedy is just non-stop verbiage. That having characters talk non-stop is somehow funny. And it isn't. It's annoying. It can be tolerable in small doses, but when your whole movie is like that, you done f***ed up.
Let's have 4 people at once talking over each other.
That's what you like? You eat that? Oh my God, gross.
So there might be a lot of quote-unquote jokes in there, but they're going by so fast and they're so drowned out by all the constant talking that they don't have a chance to even register. So despite how many jokes the movie might try to make, none of them made the audience in my theater laugh, and I'll be damned if I could actually remember a single one of them. And before you ask, no, Mikey twerking doesn't count. Damn it, Hollywood, stop trying to make twerking green people a trend. It's not going to happen. So I don't know what the hell all these critics are talking about saying the movie is so hilarious. It's not. It thinks it is. But if you could pick individual jokes out of all the talking, then you must have been paying closer attention than anyone in my theater. Maybe if those jokes had been set to a musical montage like the vomit gag, that might have changed things, but somehow I doubt it. It's not like it did the vomiting any favors. Speaking of music, the soundtrack sucks. The song choices they used in this movie were some of the most awkward shit they did, period. You can play What's Up by 4 Non-Blondes just short of f***ing forever, but you couldn't fit the iconic Ninja Turtles theme song in there even once? Jesus Christ, even the Michael Bay movies eventually remembered to do that. But hey, look, the Turtles are part of my childhood. I grew up on the cartoons, I had the action figures. It's really hard for me to hate the Turtles. When I sat down to make this video, I was on the fence about the movie, and the more I think about it, the less I like it, but I don't want to hate it. I'm not saying there's nothing good here at all. I like parts of it. I think the basic story is okay with Superfly and his evil plot to create more mutants. That made sense. I don't see why the villain couldn't have been Baxter Stockman, but whatever. The action isn't really bad when they get to it. I just didn't like how the ninja aspect was so de-emphasized. The art design and animation style are really unique and fun to look at, and they obviously put a lot of work into it. The only problem is the humans look like shit. The pacing was good though. It's a breezy 99 minutes. It knows when to get in and when to get out, so I never got impatient with it. It didn't overstay its welcome like some other movies did this summer, and generally, I did enjoy seeing these characters again, even if the new versions weren't to my liking, and the movie gets pretty damn crowded from trying to cram so many of them in there. I just think that while this film might have been made with better intentions than the ones Michael Bay's company churned out, it had some ideas that probably looked better on paper and somebody should have said no to. Like the vomiting, too much focus on teenagers, not enough on ninjas, the ending, which I won't spoil, but once you've played that card, I think you've kind of broken the franchise. So this felt like a step forward for these characters in some ways after we scrubbed Michael Bay's fingerprints off, but also a step back. I appreciate some of the things they did, but it's not my favorite version of the Turtles, so I think I'll just go back to the cartoons. Thanks so much for watching, and while you're here, do all the other YouTube things. Ding the bell icon and follow my social media so you can always be notified when I upload new stuff. The links are down there. And help me reach my goal of 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year by hitting that thumbs up, leaving a comment, sharing the video, subscribing if you haven't already, and making sure you're still subscribed, because what really deserves to be doused in mysterious glowing ooze and turned into a mutated freak that is somehow still not as weird looking as some of the humans in this movie is the YouTube algorithm. That's all for now, but I'll be back with more soon. Take care, stay tuned, and always remember, wise men say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza. See you next time.